When we decided to build that. I mean, I'm not saying, in the long term, the Civic Center will pay us big dividends. But for 3 or 4 years after it was completed, nobody was marketing the Civic Center. We had city employees that had no experience in advertising and marketing trying to market that facility for people to come. When we tried to sell the Civic Center, or digital domain, last year, you know who negotiated the terms of that deal that fell through?
The business manager.
The city manager and the city attorney. We were too cheap to hire a commercial real estate broker. Okay? We were too cheap. And guess what happened? The guy showed up at closing and said, I changed my mind, because we weren't smart enough to get a deposit. What's the first thing you do when you get a contract?
You get a deposit.
And Realtor 101 says that, first of all, a contract is only valid when there's payment and consideration. Payment would have been the deposit, and consideration would have been the signed contract. That you're going to buy the property, here's my deposit, everything's above board. But Roger Orr and Jeff Bremer didn't require that. So we were operating under the assumption that for 3 or 4 months it may have been longer, that we were going to sell that property, the guy was going to come to closing, close the deal, and digital domain was off the books. And he showed up at closing and said, no, I'm not going to do that.
I had no money on the table, so he had nothing
He had nothing to lose. He walked away laughing. You know, we keep setting ourselves up for that because, one, we're always afraid to say no, and nobody functions with any business sense.
Well, has anybody run that has owned a business?
Nope. There's never been a mayor, or for that matter, a city council person in the history of the city. We've had, actually, Ron Bowen, who's a council, he's in District 2. He is an insurance salesman. Jack Kelly was a realtor. Mary Ann Cernuto, who passed away years ago, she owned a small business, but I don't remember what it was. And
Subway.
What?
She owned a Subway.
Mary Ann did? Okay.
How long have you had your business?
24 years. And I'm an accountant, so I know numbers. I don't have to depend on staff to interpret numbers for me. Because one of the things that inexperienced or unqualified council elected people do is they rely on staff to tell them everything. And you know what? The innuendo over the last 15, 20 years or so has been Don Cooper, who used to be the city manager, used to push the council in the direction that he wanted them to go. And that's what they did. They just, in the old days, it wasn't, you would think that Don Cooper was the mayor and not Bob Minsky, right? Or Lawless or Fielding or any of those guys. But they didn't possess the skills to make sound financial business decisions.